Good morning. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. It's Friday. It's the beginning of a long weekend.
Mm.
I am not going to say we're all going to be celebrating 4th of July because, hey, we now have Juneteenth, baby, to celebrate. So, hey, thank you
True.
for 4th of July. But now we have our own holiday to celebrate. So, we'll join maybe with y'all a little bit. But we are very thankful for Juneteenth. So, in that vein, I would like to welcome you all so much to the autopsy of her
Mm.
healing, evolving resiliency. And today is a wonderful day. I am Iris Denise Owens, and on the line with me is my beautiful co host and my sister.
Stephanie Deani Green. Hello, everybody.
Hey,
Hey, honey bunny.
how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. And today we have a very special guest, right? This is probably going to be like my best guess ever, right?
Wow.
But I know that this guest will return again. But he's the best guest ever because he was the best gift ever
Oh
to
wow.
me,
Love you,
right?
mom.
So he is my firstborn, my love, my heart, my road dog.
Roll
It is
dog.
road. This is my love, right? He is my first love. So we want to welcome to the podcast, Rondell James. Good morning, Rondell James.
Hey, what's up, mom?
Good
What's up, Aunt
morning,
Stephanie?
Rhonda.
Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
We are happy to have you. We are very
Mm.
happy to have you. And so we're going to jump right in today. And so, what we're going to be talking about today, our topic today is going to be business online.
Mm.
And we are going to come from different perspectives because we all come from different perspectives, right? We
Exactly.
are,
Absolutely.
we are the old school, and now we have new school on the line. And I just love the fact that one, I have the opportunity in life to collaborate with my son.
Mm.
um,
Vice versa.
when we open ourselves up, we never, sometimes, I won't say we never, sometimes we miss the opportunity when we don't open ourselves up to our children. Because
Mm.
once our children, and even when they're children, there are things that they teach us. But when they become adults and they do something so totally different than you ever expected, that you would have imagined, that is such an opportunity in life to learn and to be like, wow, never even gave that thought. Because
Mm.
most of us grew up with someone telling you, what you gonna be? They ask,
Mm.
what you gonna be? At 5 years old, I'm gonna be a doctor. I don't even know what a doctor does. I'm gonna be a lawyer. I have no idea if I'm even gonna like being a lawyer.
But
Second,
sometimes they tell you what you're gonna do
right,
too. Like,
right.
Yeah.
yeah,
Or when
oh,
they
you're gonna be this.
right, you're
Yeah.
gonna you're
Got you
going to
set
do
up.
this, right? And so as this young man's parent, I remember the moment in life where we went through that, where we were like, okay, you're gonna go to college. And he kept saying, I don't want to go to college. And we were like,
Facts.
but yeah, you're gonna go to college. And he was like, but I don't want to go to college.
Yeah.
Okay, so we thought we won a battle because he went to college.
Mm.
And then halfway through, he was like, yeah, you know what? This is not
Like
for
this
you.
is.
Yeah. Peace.
he was
I'm
Peace.
out.
he
He's
was
Still
like,
like,
learning. Haven't
listen,
stopped opening books since day one, but
yeah.
yeah,
He,
that part.
he was like, I gotta go. So I want everyone who's listening today to really listen, because like I said, so many times we miss opportunities when we think that because we are older, because we've lived something, because we've lived through our life,
Mm.
that we have a right to tell somebody else, yeah, that's not going to work. You got to do it this
Mm.
way. And that's not true. That is absolutely not true. So,
mhm.
Rondell James, RJ, better known to his mother as Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
He is Charlie
That
Brown.
way.
Rondell is my Charlie Brown. And I want you to, do what you do and go ahead and get started. Jump right on in.
Okay.
Welcome.
Okay. Thank y'all for having me once again.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Mr. Personality.
Always. I
Yeah,
had the
I
best
love this young
teachers.
man. I met him when he was 1 year old.
Right.
So he is so special to me.
Yes.
Love is there forever, forever, forever. To your first point, actually, especially in the streaming world and in the business world, because there is so much, not just technology, but you have as you said, the old school, and you can call it the new school, but business tactics haven't gone out of practice simply because we moved online. If
Yes.
anything, if you actually grew up building businesses before streaming was a thing, that actually gives you an advantage. In my case, I got to see you and dad and like other people in our family,
Mm-hmm.
start businesses, create businesses, move forward in those things. On Stephanie, and I was able to learn from y'all, what branding was, what marketing was, what a
Right.
slogan needs to be, the importance of having a visual image to tie into, in my case, audio. But there's no right or wrong way to be online as a business. It's only, do you believe you have an audience? And there's at least 1 point something billion people on the planet, so you do. And
Mhm.
can you reach
Right.
that audience? And yeah, you can, because you don't need to be on Instagram or Twitter or social media 24/7 or at all to have a successful business. What you need is the belief in yourself that you can actually go somewhere and make a business. I know I still got this whole like one eye shadow thing. I feel like I'm in a movie right now. Like I need to get a roller chair and a cat that I can like pet. But it's actually amazing to say that, because to your point, once again, I still learn from the younger kids in our family, but I also learn from the older people who are doing business out here, not even online, for people who still have brick and mortar stores. And the thing I think I've gotten the most out of this is that if you have an idea, and especially one that keeps you up at night, or it's something that you keep thinking about and dreaming about, you should just,
Absolutely.
if you're prone to it, you should just put it online. Because at that
Mhm.
point, say you're on YouTube. YouTube has, I think, the last time I did a survey, it's something like people are uploading videos, like something thousand videos every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. So you have,
Wow.
tons of content going on Spotify. On Spotify alone, this is not Apple, this isn't Amazon, this isn't SoundCloud, this isn't your website. People are putting out songs. Thousands of artists are putting out at least a track every few days, every few minutes, every few seconds, depending on who you are, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's not about, oh, I'm losing myself to saturation, or there's too many people in the market. It's once again about, what will I do for myself to reach the audience and the people that want to hear me and what I have to say.
Right.
Even what you said before the camera came on, about how this isn't edited, and if you don't want to watch this, just don't clutch your pearls, but go somewhere else. It's
Right.
the same idea of, not that I have to be someone that I'm not, or I have to imitate other people. I can simply learn from what they're doing in their business model and then apply it to my own, because it will only bring back to me the people who want to be here, the people who want to interact
Right.
with my stuff. So for me, it's like poems and music is where I really started with online business, really like digital art, I guess, to like put that into a whole frame. And that was back in 2014. I started making music with some friends. We got on YouTube, didn't make anything, right? Prior to that, though, in 2000, what was that? 2012 and 2013, we were monetized on YouTube both times. And this was like making comedy videos and stuff. This was before we were even doing music. We
Hmm.
lost that monetization both times because YouTube changed its policy before we were able to ever collect any of the money off that. So made money twice already. So even there, that could have been like the whole setback moment in your life where you're like, well, this obviously isn't for me, so I'm gonna stop doing that.
Right.
But once I saw that you could be at your house, even before COVID, right? You
Right.
could be at your house as a kid and still be putting out content that people can find in Russia or Germany or places that are nowhere near you, and then support you. I was like, or not even support, they can interact with you and help you while you help them.
Right.
That got me so into the idea of it. So 2014, we start making music, start working with this guy named Peter Jacobson at Knock Hard Productions up here in Doraville, which actually now I live right next to, ironically enough, like look at God. But
Yeah.
we were putting out all this music and we're recording all this stuff, and I come to find out later, we don't own any of the rights to these instrumentals. We've been pulling them off YouTube. So none of that stuff was
Mm.
you couldn't copyright any of that without having the original producers on it, or the original artist, because you're basically stealing their work and then making money off of it. And then,
Mm.
you know, at first it's fine, but once you make a certain amount, people can, they can
Come
sue
after
you.
you.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
Sue
exactly.
you.
So it's
Yeah,
like, that's
right.
what a lot of these major companies
Yeah.
do when you
Yeah.
sample a song, like, you sample like Coke's jingle or something, or you sample the ba da ba ba ba, like, which apparently Pusha T, the rapper from Virginia,
Mhm.
made that, but he didn't sign over his he signed over his rights to it, so he never made any money off of that.
Oh
You
wow.
can get to a
Ooh.
certain right, crazy, right? He was talking about this is also why learning from the internet and searching and research and development is such a huge thing in the world, because you can learn from people's experiences, especially when they're trying to share them with you, which is another huge part
Mhm.
of the internet. You have a endless wealth of knowledge from all these other people who do business. They have
Mhm.
recorded videos, or they have like how you're doing this podcast. They have this
Yeah.
podcast, or they have this. Sometimes you do get it through the music, like from people like Jay-Z or Nas or something. But there are so many people who are trying to give you game, trying to give you gems off top before you even get to the point where you're like, oh, I want to start this business, that you could
Right.
go and spend hours or whatever amount of time you need learning about these things to
Mhm.
not have to fall into those same pitfalls. But the whole thing with that is that when you're hearing, when you're getting to this point, you're like, oh, I've sampled this thing and I've made all this money from it, right? You get to about 10,000, you get to 100,000. That's when companies can come in and they're like, well, you still owe us royalties for this. You still got to pay the writers who wrote that jingle. You still got to, and you don't end up making anything out of it. So we had to
Right.
scrap that entire catalog. Got scrapped. It's still up on YouTube for
Wow.
fun, for giggles. You know what I mean? People still watch it now to this day, like in different countries. And I have no idea why, but they enjoy the music, whatever it means to them, whatever the art and how they're interpreting means to them, is what they're getting from it, which is also the important thing about business. The way you interpret your business, or the way you see your vision, even in the most positive light, someone else may have their own positive light they're shining on it, but they don't interpret your business the same way. But it means just
Mhm.
as much to them. And had you not started this
Mhm.
podcast, had you not started the opportunity, there would be no one there to receive the blessing of it. There'd be no one there to receive the gift of it. So not
Mhm.
only are you helping yourself by starting a business, if you have an idea that keeps you up or keeps running in your head, you're helping others. You know what I mean? And they're helping you. So 2015, this guy named Ryan J starts this channel called Homegrown Poetry. Uh, I end up becoming like the analytics manager for that, and then end up receiving the company because he was like, no, for right now or however or indefinitely, this is you. You know what I'm saying? So everyone else who was in the team, went their own ways, moved to different places, were living life. And that's the other thing about business too. People go on and they live life. So you can't be focused on what other people are doing. You got to be like, if I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to make this thing. It's got to be us, or it's got to be me in this moment. And then the help, the blessings will come to me
Mhm.
from me pursuing. You know what I mean? Asking, you shall receive. Like, my words don't return onto me
Absolutely.
void. You feel me? Like,
Right.
so
Mhm. Absolutely.
2015, we received monetization again. And then
Mm.
I think literally the day or the week after, YouTube changes its policy. So now this is on two separate channels in a
Hold on.
span of about
Hold on. Hold on. We have
hmm,
some sort of feedback. Something is, I don't know
hmm,
what it is, but I hear noise and then it's like distorting when you're talking.
where
Do you hear?
let
No?
me hold on, let me mute my mic, and then you talk, and then Stephanie, could you talk, please? That's the best way to figure out directly where it's coming from. So I'm gonna mute right now.
Hello? Yep. Can you hear? Can you hear?
No, no feedback. Mom, you try.
Hello? Testing. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Definitely hear you. It might be maybe the way I'm talking or how I'm moving. So I'll try to stay like more steady while I'm
No,
talking.
it's fine. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just want to make sure. Okay, go
No,
ahead.
that's important. I'd rather you let me know. Like, it's the same thing with the rap ciphers that I hop into. Like, if someone can't hear you, like, it's better to let them know, because otherwise
Yeah.
you still get a whole 2 hour set to put up online, but you have sections where no one can
Yeah, no
understand
one's
what
can
that person is
understand it.
saying.
Exactly. They missed
It's
all of
like, yeah, it's like,
that.
ah, that was good energy wise, you know what I mean? But we didn't
Can
catch
understand
any of
nothing you
that.
said. Yeah. So
Yes,
I have a real quick question before you move on to your next thing. So, like,
please.
many of us, so for I know for me, coming into having different businesses, it was always about, oh, you need a website. You need a website. Like, is a website even something needed these days, especially if you're not selling something? Now, I understand if you're selling something,
Mm,
maybe that is still needed. But if you are in the more of you are giving, like you're giving knowledge, or your service is not something, like untangible, it's non-tangible,
mm, mm.
is it necessary to still be worried about having a website?
Yeah. I would say everyone. My personal opinion is having a website isn't a necessity, but it is a boon to your business
Okay.
because it gives you like look at it like this, right? Instagram, social media, even the company that I'm currently with for my distribution, the way that I put my poems, my music out into the world and get them on the Spotify, Anchor, even that same way.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these companies don't take the rights to your work. So like Anchor and like DistroKid, my distributor for the moment, as we're setting up our own publishing and distributing. And the publishing company actually got set up last year. So that's already step one down. Uh, they are still running your content, right? You give them the rights to produce your content, to share it, to put it out to other people for them to see it.
Yes.
But at the same time, you don't own the platform. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't own Instagram. You don't own Twitter. You can have
Right,
10
right,
million
right, right.
followers on Instagram and on Twitter, but if Instagram or Twitter goes away,
Those people
Mm-hmm.
are gone
where
too.
you at? Right,
Yeah.
where you at?
Mm-hmm.
So
Got
then you still have that network is still there in the world, but they still have to
Mm-hmm.
wait for you to make a platform somewhere where they can, at least on the internet, interact with you. So the
Oh.
website is more so a way of giving yourself that plot of land. This is mine here on the internet, because once again, nobody owns the internet. The internet is a
got you.
open source thing for all of us. But if you have a
Mhm.
website, you're able to go, well, I can put all my videos that are on Instagram and YouTube. I can put all my podcasts that are on Anchor. I can put all my poems and my music on here, because the way that you, in sense of like copyright, or the way that you track things and market them so that they know that it's yours, you don't need to go through Instagram or Twitter for that. They're just
Yes.
very viable for people right now in this time period, and they may continue to be
Mm.
forever. But if people stop being on Instagram, you still have to go to wherever they're going now to now once again build a
Mhm.
platform and hold their attention. For a
Correct.
lot of people, once you start building a platform somewhere, it becomes easier, because like when Facebook was the huge thing, then Instagram came
Exactly.
up. Facebook
Right.
then buys Instagram, and now they become the same company. But for a moment in time, people were going from
It was too
Facebook
intimate.
exactly
That's
to
Mhm.
Instagram.
absolutely. And that is
Exactly.
probably why, look, that's probably why Facebook bought Instagram, because they were
Yeah,
like,
of
Exactly.
course. They're far from
instead of
stupid.
it making
Exactly.
it a competition, let's be
Make you
allies.
mine.
And then
I
Right.
just own you.
Yes, yes, yes. And then I can run all that traffic right back into the
yeah,
business. I don't have to
brilliant,
worry about what
brilliant,
numbers are.
brilliant idea. I'm telling you.
Brilliant. Well, same
Yeah.
things that happened with TikTok.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. I hope it
Yes.
wasn't a hostile takeover, but either way, we don't know. But it's
Right.
brilliant.
Oh, they got paid well. They got paid well.
Yeah. And then funny enough, y'all mentioned TikTok, because have y'all been seeing any of the versus battles that Swiss Beats and Timberland have been putting on?
Absolutely.
So TikTok bought them. They bought the whole versus label, the whole versus
Wow. What?
conglomerate. Yes.
Whoa.
So now that
And
is a
did
part.
Timberland and Swiss Beats own it?
Yes, that's there. So that
Wow.
was a
So they
joint
got
venture.
paid.
Oh, ooh, ooh, yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, ooh, they got paid.
Paid,
Oh.
paid. Yeah. So you have people who are like, well, I'm not gonna destroy this thing, but I'll definitely take it and then go up with it. Because funny enough, Blockbuster had the ability to buy Netflix back in the 90s
I
when
remember.
Netflix,
I know the
right?
story.
Right?
Yes.
But they
And
decide not to, and then
right.
years later,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Blockbusters don't even exist. There are people who are like, what's
Who blockbusters? What's blockbusters? But I want to tell you a real quick story. So Swiss Beats aunt,
yeah.
Siobhan, she was the president of Rough Riders. But
Yo,
back in
rest
the
in peace,
day when
DMX.
I used to do my fashion shows, she used to perform for me.
oh wow.
Yeah, yeah, because we all went to school together.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
small
yeah.
world.
And I think I used to always say you break. She's like, that's not break dancing, Stephanie, but she used to come and perform with another guy. But yeah, Siobhan Dean and Swiss Beats is her nephew. And then I had the opportunity to hang out with Alicia Keys right before her first album dropped. You know, at her house in her closet, going through her clothes. What you gonna do?
Nice.
Because my other girlfriend had put her in a house and we would do these Thursday lunches. She said, "Oh, I just put a young girl in a house. She's making an album, you know, because she was really friends with Jeff. Jeff was her manager. He's the manager of her, you know, the
Oh
artist her.
wow. Yes.
Yeah,
No, we've
he's
been listening
her
to her stuff
manager now.
recently.
But
Okay.
right, and but so it's so weird that I knew Alicia, you know, before her album dropped. I know, you know, Siobhan, Swiss's aunt, and now Swiss and Alicia are married. And so
Isn't
That's
that
crazy.
interesting?
yeah, it's
I love
Crazy.
it.
interesting.
I love it. So
Yeah.
so Rondo,
Mm.
I just, I am there are so many times like you and I are talking, and and like you go into such depth about stuff, and sometimes I'm going, I have no idea. I have to like keep saying, son, what does that mean? Because I'm
I
like,
know,
you
right?
know,
Yeah.
but I think the thing that I appreciate so much is that this for you started out as, I thought, and I think most parents would think, okay, he's just having fun with his friends. He likes
Mhm.
music, right? And he,
Yeah.
he and his friends are getting together and they're rapping together and they're doing music together and they're doing this kind of thing. But then what really made me be clear about your vision and what you were doing was when you were like, yeah, I have an LLC now. I was
Mm.
like, oh, what? Let's go, bro. Let's go. I mean,
Love you,
it's
mom.
just like it was amazing to me because like I said, when you have children, you have
Mm.
these visions as a parent as to who you think your children are. Like you see their gifts, you see their visions. But sometimes because of being parents, we have these preconceived of who you ought to be in life or what you should
Mhm.
do in life.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm.
And so after we got over, and I think me faster quicker than his dad did, because initially dad was like, yeah, hell to the no,
Nah,
like that
nah,
ain't gonna happen. He was like,
nah,
Well,
son.
he's always been a corporate guy.
Yeah,
he was
facts, facts.
Yeah,
No, he needs
yeah,
to see numbers. You know what I'm
he
saying?
was
He needs
like,
exactly. He's a
numbers.
corporate guy.
right, he was
Mhm.
Yeah.
like, I cannot see how you think that this is going to be your life and how. And so as parents, we then came together and had a conversation when Ronald decided that he was no longer going to go back to school.
Mm.
So we then said, okay, well, guess what? If he had gone to school for 4 years, we would have supported him anyway, right? Through those
Mhm.
4 years of college. So we made the decision that we would continue to support him through his dream and his vision. And so I'm
Love.
glad that we did. Because the first time I went to hear Rondell do spoken word, you know, and I was sitting
Mhm.
there, and I mean, Rondo ripped our behinds.
Wow.
Me and his dad, he ripped our behinds about the whole thing about going to college and parents think this and da 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 da.
I
And
still have
so,
that
so,
poem.
so there was one moment where I had to calm myself down because I wanted to stand up and go, I'm gonna whip your behind. Like I'm like, you gonna stop talking about me in this place. You I mean, I was having some kind of feelings.
you
But
you
then
feel some kind of way,
She
honey?
told me after. She told
but
me, yeah,
but
facts.
but the words and the way he flowed and the things that the way that he was spitting these words, I was like, this kid is like phenomenal. Like he always
Uh,
had the gift of language. Like all
Absolutely.
of the time.
my
Absolutely.
parents, you know what I'm
Rondell
saying? Yeah.
literally, Rondell spoke before he walked. And not because he couldn't walk, Rondell just chose not to walk, right? But he spoke. He always had language. Rondell would speak to adults, and then there was an incident where we were on a plane once before. These two doctors, we were flying to New York, and they started talking to Rondell, and our plane was delayed and all this stuff. And we finally get on the plane, and the stewardess comes and says,
Mhm.
excuse me, the two gentlemen up front would like to have your son come up to first class. They really want to talk to him some more. And these two doctors were like,
No.
Hilarious.
this kid, have you ever had him tested? I'm like,
Oh,
tested for what? I'm like, is he Sheldon from the
exactly.
military? Like, what do you want? But he has always had the gift of words and knowledge and
Are
wisdom.
you frozen, Rhonda? Rhonda's
Always
frozen.
been that
Oh,
way.
am I? It might be the internet connection, but I can still hear y'all right now in real
Yeah.
Yeah.
time.
Oh,
So,
okay. Iris is frozen too.
oh, so he's
Yeah.
always had that gift. And so I am
Mhm.
so Rondell, I tell you this all the time. I'm so appreciative of you, because I always taught you, to follow your dreams and
Yeah.
to not allow anybody, including us, including me, that because I couldn't see your vision didn't mean that I had the right to like block your vision. So
Mhm.
I always tell you, and I speak openly that I'm so proud of you for who you are and what you do. And I like I just am in awe of when I'm learning from you, you know. So I just really appreciate that. So
Thank you.
continue on in your knowledge dropping, sir.
Thank you. I
Because he is
mean,
a wordsmith. I tell you that much.
Yes, he is.
I appreciate it. I've learned so much from you, Mom. So I mean, that means a lot.
Oh.
Um, but yeah, going back to the website helps you to have your own space on the internet because as long as you're paying for the domain, you keep up with the payments for
Right,
that. You
right,
can you can put traffic ads on your website, which is what Instagram does when they're showing you those sponsored ads, or Facebook does when they're showing you
right,
the clothes or whatever they have targeting you at that particular time of the day or whatever. Like, or YouTube, when YouTube has, if you don't have premium, and every time they run an ad, like they only pay for that ad, the person who's running it, if it runs for 30 seconds. No, is it 15? Yeah, it has to run for at least 30 seconds. If it's 15 or under, they don't pay for it, whether it's
uh-uh,
YouTube or wherever else. But someone is making something from that ad and the ad space that
Mm.
is being spent there, because you have
right,
to pay Facebook to run the ads on Facebook. You have to pay YouTube to run ads on YouTube, even if you're not paying for the ad in itself if it doesn't run over a certain time. You know what I mean?
right.
So it's like
Got you.
that
But it's like the
website.
commercials like they do on TV. So same
Yes.
concept. The commercial
Yes.
sponsors for like all the TV shows we watch. They have the commercial sponsors. That's how they get paid. Okay, it's
Literally,
the same. Okay.
literally. And that's the thing
Mhm.
about online business too. What I think what some people get discouraged about is they're like there's too much going on. But what you have to realize, especially for y'all who are already business women, business people, is that a lot of online business is still built out of what was originally brick and mortar business. A lot of
Absolutely.
a lot of the language and stuff that we do even in streaming is still based off of what we originally did, if you're calling it
Right,
music or digital art, or selling from what we did in stores. Like
right,
it hasn't changed that much yet. You know what I mean? It is
right.
changing, but some things have not, and some things probably won't.
Yeah.
So that
I
website
agree
gives
with
you
you
that
there.
space. Yeah, exactly on stuff. That
But
website gives you that
I
space.
think the mediums what really as time goes on, they're gonna really marry each other even more so. Because then it'll give people more options. You know, you could do it live, you could do it online, you could, you know, you have so many options how you want to do that. You know, some people want to just stay in their homes and be entertained, and some people want to go out to be entertained. But
Right,
you give you options. I don't think brick and mortar will never go. I think it'll just be the way brick and mortar will work will be differently. But
Hmm.
that's like it has to come together as
Yes.
one ultimately, whatever it
Yes.
is. Like just diverting for 1 minute, we was talking about retail. I was having a conversation about retail yesterday, and I was saying the big problem with retail is that the retail businesses they needed to marry their online. They need to make them one. Like Nordstrom's had the right idea, but Nordstrom's still a family-owned company. Whereas, you know, like you could order something online in Nordstrom, you could take it to the Nordstrom store and return it,
right,
or you know, it just works together. Everybody else, Saks off Fifth Avenue, which is Saks Fifth Avenue, they want to keep all these things separate, and that's where it failed. You have to make them go together, and
right.
that's
Yeah.
how they become very, very profitable and they
Hmm.
work well.
Because we're moving into a hybrid society. We're
Yes.
we're a hybrid society. I just had a conversation
Exactly.
about,
Yes.
in real estate, we were having a conversation about people coming to membership orientation, right? That you would give someone, a new realtor, the opportunity for 6 months to come, that they must do their new membership orientation. So of course, due to COVID, we had been doing these online. And so now it's like, okay, well, when are we going to go back to face to face? Well, I think what people are failing to understand is that going forth, this is our lives now. There's always
Mhm.
going to, I think, in everything we do, any major conference you do now, I don't care where it is, what industry is in, you're going to need to offer a virtual option.
Absolutely.
Because
Always.
Absolutely.
Always.
now that we saw that we it can be done, so
Hmm.
instead of me
Successfully too.
to fly to LA for 1 day, spend absorbent amount of money for the conference, for the flight, for the hotel, and all that, I could
And time.
I could
Right.
pay this same amount online, even though that
Hmm.
seems crazy, right? But
Hmm.
I'm gonna pay. I could still pay the same amount of money that you're paying for going to the conference, and I'm going to get the same experience.
Exactly.
And so digitally, that's what I'm saying. This digital footprint that we're leaving now is so different than when before COVID.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
all that, yeah.
That's true. You're right. You're right.
Different because now, I mean, people can interview people online. You can talk online. I mean, I always said, I thought that in my lifetime I would see the Jetsons. You remember the Jetsons?
Yeah, I love the Jetsons. I still watch the Jetsons.
Well, but here's what we are seeing from the Jetsons. Remember when Janie would put her face on and come on the camera? That's what this is where we are. This is where we live.
You're right about that.
Exactly.
It's a frozen picture, but it's still a picture. You can be online and people just see the picture. You can have rollers in your hair. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But still doing business though. Still doing business.
You can still I could still be talking to you and not have my face on, but I have that representative of me, whatever that face is.
That's right.
But
You're
my
right.
still intact with you. So it is amazing to me that, man, look at how far we have come. Like I remember when we had to start using computers, and I remember going to college, there was a whole building for the computer system. Right?
Yeah, it was. They were so
back
big.
when computers were like, you could walk inside of them. You could walk. Yeah.
And look though at where we are. We use a phone now, and this phone you could do.
But a phone is a computer, really. It's a computer.
Y'all ever seen that?
It's really a mini computer, you know.
It's the poster.
I mean, I don't have to. I can send my files, whatever, everything I can do from my phone.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Rhonda?
Y'all ever seen that poster where they show you all the separate things you had to use to buy for a computer back in like when computers were first made, and then they show you a cell phone and go, and all of it's in here now.
Right.
Like, yeah, literally. Like this used to be 36, 25 different components that all costed some $100. Now it's in a phone. Like,
right. And you could not take that bad boy anywhere out of that house.
No,
you couldn't even take it to another room. Right.
No, you were going.
And that's why it costs so much. When you really think about it, you know, something like I'm not spending $1,200 for a phone, but when your phone does everything for you and essentially all your work is in it, you will pay $1,200 for the phone. Okay?
Because you'll get the money back, plus more.
Oh, absolutely. Right. To be like somewhere like your mother and I both being realtors, and you're somewhere, somebody's like, oh, you missed one page from the contract. Oh, let me send it to you right now. But you could be on your way to a play. You know what I mean? I'll be on a plane somewhere. You don't have to wait to get to your office or call somebody at the office and have them to send it. Everything is right there at your fingertips. And it's great. And wait a minute, the side thought, what I was thinking about, look how back in the day, like when they talk about when you took classes online colleges, it was something that people frowned upon. Mm-hmm. Now, all colleges are basically online now, okay?
Yeah.
So, and it's nothing to be frowned upon. When somebody said, oh, they got their degree online.
Right. Because we used to say, that's not a real school.
Exactly.
Yes.
Look at that. You know, my son went to film school in California all last year online. Okay.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
still got
Loyola Marymount University at that. So you can't. So everything is all relative now. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
go ahead, Rondo. I mean, I'm loving our conversation.
Me too.
We just every now and then I gotta jump in there and be like, because it's like it comes to my brain and I'm like, man, this just is so amazing to me. You know, just how.
Well, that's what makes it a conversation.
Right, multiple people, not just one sided. But actually, I was saying to y'all point, I actually like what y'all brought up because when everything went online, y'all probably saw it. There started being a lot of online concerts. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, where people were doing virtual concerts. And then even before that, you had that whole which I'm sure is still happening because they've still been building that technology, but there was that whole Tupac hologram. Didn't they have a Michael Jackson hologram? And like so the whole thing, you
Whitney
know, you have right? Yep. Oh, who else?
Whitney Houston.
They did Whitney. I see. I didn't even know they did Whitney's yet. But that's the whole point. So you have these people now who have catalogs of music, catalogs that are like passively paying their families, like, but you can make a hologram of them and then use the same music, program the hologram, and people will come see the show. Or you can have like The Weeknd did a huge online concert. His was apparently very good because people found it more interactive, whereas a lot of artists were just kind of on a stage by themselves. People would still go to the concert, but they want interaction. So you also have people like Travis Scott who does y'all know the game Fortnite by any chance? I
Yeah, I was
played
about
maybe
Yeah,
to
of
say
course.
yes.
I played maybe 3 hours of it, but everybody knows what it is.
Yes.
We did a concert on there. That was, I think, their biggest draw ever on the entirety of it because people
Really?
came to see the
Okay.
Wow.
concert. Right. So then you have people who are jumping into games literally and then performing concerts, but people are coming to see them
Wow.
in the game. But it all still
Wow, that's
turns into real
phenomenal.
money. So this has started being my idea. You have we're doing augmented reality now, AR, where you can put on glasses and you can see, how we have the whole touch screen things, like
Yes.
all,
Yes.
and then you have virtual reality
Yes.
where you can put yourself into something and it's more immersive, right?
Right.
So in the same idea, conferences, right?
Oh,
You
wow.
set
Okay.
up beacons where you can put people in virtual reality or in AR. Oh, I'm sitting in my living room, but I got on goggles. My seat is here. It has a sensor for me. Now I'm sitting here in the conference as a hologram. There's a million people in here,
Mm,
but there's maybe two actual real people here, the speaker and the person,
Right.
you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But it's made it now to where you can be anywhere in the world and you can still match up with everybody. You can have a multi-billion-dollar concert, multi-million-dollar concert, and no one's there physically, but you still caught a check at the end of the day. You still walked out. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
Absolutely.
so yeah, it's really changed the world to the fact now where people are always looking for that. Because what I've started realizing too is with the whole AR and VR thing, and people like, how you have people always talking about football, people always talking about basketball, people always talking about music. There are people who are always in their communities all the time, building their communities, working in their communities, right? So
Right.
you start
Mhm.
having these, and they're already there, these virtual reality communities, these AR communities where they're always there having conferences. Or you can just come meet us in virtual LA. You can come meet us in virtual New York. You can come meet us in virtual Georgia. We'll be there all day. Or we'll have
Oh,
somebody there as the mediator.
yes. Oh,
So
I
all
want
the
to do a virtual New York trip.
exact, and that's the other thing too. You have Google Maps, right? Where you can hop down and run the street. Eventually, they're going to give you the virtual reality glasses where you can hop down and run the street real time while
What?
people are going by you. Like, all of this,
Wow.
if it hasn't happened, is happening now. And all of this COVID made that more possible. It made
Yes,
that
it did.
more for people because it put a lot of people back in their homes to the point where they're like, well, dang, I'm still gonna do business, but I'm here, doing all my meetings, doing all my conferences. I might as well see what's
Right.
on streaming. I might as well see what's new on movies. I might as well. Oh, the movie theaters are now just putting it on Amazon. They just putting it on Netflix. They just putting it
Right.
on Google. I'm still gonna pay the same amount of money. I'm still gonna pay the same $14 I was gonna go and pay for this ticket over here. I might as
Right.
well go
Right.
to the movies at my house.
Right.
So it's
That's
it's
true.
literally right. It's literally changed the world to the way where it's not even uncommon now to have whole societies of people who are always online, or every business transaction they have is not
Yes.
even in a physical space, but it's
Right.
them with goggles on
Mhm.
in a virtual New York, a virtual Georgia, oh,
Yes.
but still doing the same business. And then, like you were
Mhm.
saying, on Stephanie, it all just tie right back into the physical store. You'll be able to go to Nordstrom physically, but also go to
Mhm.
virtual reality Nordstrom or just buy Nordstrom online from your computer.
Mhm.
You'll have multiple options and it won't matter which
Exactly.
one you do because all of them will still tie into the overall whole, which is the business, which is the brand, which is the
Exactly.
spirit of the business.
Right.
So it's literally opened all these doors where people can literally, they don't have to go anywhere anymore. They don't even have to, you can have it delivered to you by drone, or you can have it delivered to you by mail, or you can
Yes.
Exactly.
have it delivered to you by email. It's going to get to you somehow as long as you're paying for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so
It's true. You're right.
it's made it very easy, very, very easy.
I think what I'm really learning to appreciate is that, as an entrepreneur, right? We always talk about this. Entrepreneur has to have, if you're an entrepreneur, you cannot deem yourself an entrepreneur if you have one stream of income.
Mm,
No, no.
Because an entrepreneur is always working on multiple streams of income.
right.
Like
It's so true.
you started out as this one thing, but as you go along, you realize in case something over here is not working, something gets interrupted over here,
COVID.
I still got to eat. I still got to pay my bills.
Exactly. That's so true. That's right.
Over my head. And so how do I do that? I have to be
Mhm.
multifaceted. And I think
Exactly.
as you're saying, Rondo, to be able to be online and stream business, multiple businesses online.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that has opened up so much for so many people.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
like
it's true.
I remember, growing up where, several of the movies that came out, like I remember who I think it was Denzel Washington was in a movie. I think he was the bone catcher or something.
Bone
Bone
collector.
collector.
Yeah,
Bone
bone
collector.
collector.
Yeah, bone
Yeah.
collector. Remember, he was
Mhm.
a cop and he was paralyzed, and so he did everything from his bed. And I'm thinking,
Mhm.
so there are so many people in the world who have operated that way. Like, regardless
Mhm.
of the fact that I may have a physical ailment or something that keeps me from being able to leave my home, or people who have let's just say you have the fear of going outside, which we used to think,
Agoraphobia.
yeah,
Yeah.
fear, you don't want to go outside, you don't leave your house,
Mhm.
but you
Mhm.
still can be connected to the world these days. And there is just so much to be able to do. I think what it gives us is things that you never even thought you could have possibly done,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
I
Yeah.
also think it gives you courage, because
Yeah.
sometimes you're
Mhm.
like, I can't go out there and stand up in front of all those people and start telling these folks, but I could get on this laptop and I could start with one person
Mhm.
and start, and one person, just me having this conversation with you two people, I put this on the right streaming places, I end up having conversation with hundreds, thousands of people
Exactly. Which
that
is
I
true.
Yeah.
don't even
Mhm.
know,
Yep.
and I love that. I just think that's just so amazing that that happens.
It
But
is.
you know what I think is going to happen though, since like with COVID, all these streaming services have popped up.
Mm.
And so, like, I was reading an article. So now the thing is that they're trying to figure out how to keep their members on these streaming services. Because what has been happening is that when a streaming service is promoting a movie or whatever it is that they're promoting, then
Mm-hmm.
people sign on. And then once they watch it, they come back off the account. So they're going to work on something because the reality is that they have so many streaming services right now that it's not economically possible for a lot of people to see
Yeah.
everything. So they're going to definitely stream that down because at the same time they're losing money in a lot of these mediums because once people watch the movie or the concert, whatever it is on that particular streaming service, then people drop their membership. So they're trying to see how they could hold people, how they can make it possible. Because right now they can't lock you in for a year, but the person decides not to, like they want to pay for just that month.
Right.
Mm.
They can't lock them into like just stop paying. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna have to figure out a way because now you see it's so many streaming services ridiculous and it's not affordable. I don't care if it's like $5.99. If it's 10 of them, now $60 or $50.
Right.
Yep.
So that gets to be a bit much. So they're working on something to figure all that out.
They're gonna have to come up with a package deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a package deal. I'm sure some services will be buying each other out
It'll
and
have to
trying to
be,
make
or
it
it, instead of it being a la carte, they'll have to figure out
exactly.
a way to group some of these things together, and then you can
Hmm.
choose, just like when you have cable, which
Mm.
we're
Hmm.
gonna have to
Hmm.
get into
Exactly.
because I feel like cable is like the trap, like it's like, and I think streaming services gives you the ability. It has definitely given me the ability at several times where I have divorced cable because cable was just taking all of my money, and I was just like, I'm going over here to streaming. I'm just gonna figure out how I just stop giving all my money away to cable. But I
Yeah,
think
I gotta figure out a way too because my cable, I just say it took $167 out of my account. But I'm like, what's on here? I gotta look at my packages. I like a lot of old TV.
Yep.
So sometimes that keeps me locked in, because I still watch I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched. I watch all those old TV shows still. But I like TCM.
Yep.
And so like they could be like, you gotta get this whole package just to get those TV
yeah,
shows. But then sometimes some of them you get them online. So I got to watch it. We got Hulu and then we got Netflix. It's just like it's crazy, and it ends up becoming costly after a while.
yes, it does. It does.
Yeah. To your point, Amazon, I believe right now they
And got
own,
Amazon Prime. Hmm.
right. So we got Disney Plus, we got National Geographic, you got
Hmm.
what else they have tied to that? They got a few things tied
Yeah,
to that, but
there's a
they've started bundling them. They've started doing that to your point.
yeah, because Disney, and I think it's Disney, Hulu, and someone else you can do, and Amazon Prime. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you get Prime Video and Prime such as so. Yeah, some of them are starting to do that, which is a wonderful thing to have.
Mm.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I think no way are we going to get out of though paying for
Oh
these,
no, you're right about that. There's no way.
because
No.
it all
Even with the Fire Stick,
yeah,
you're not gonna get out.
yeah, it becomes a luxury. Yeah. So,
Right.
Exactly.
but
It
just
definitely does.
but to the point of a Fire Stick, right? Look how Fire Stick is now obsolete, because
Yeah, it is.
now they came out with smart TVs.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
your TV now comes with Netflix on it. You don't need a Fire Stick, because you can if you buy a smart TV, if you already have these subscriptions, you just log into it. Now your TV has
Exactly.
there
And
for
go. All you need is Roku. Roku does
Right.
it all. Which comes
Right.
with a smart TV.
Roku
Yeah,
got
'cause I
you.
know I have a smart TV in my room, but in the family room, we still got the old TV, so they use the Fire Sticks. But yes, you're absolutely correct.
I gave away both my Fire Sticks. I gifted someone with them. I was like, because now that I had a smart TV, I didn't need it anymore. But I just think it's interesting. I mean, because just like with you, when I think back, Rondo, with when you were growing up, right? I know we had cable,
Hmm.
but we had basic cable. But
Yeah.
everything we had basic cable, and then I remember by the time Izzy came along, then they started cutting these channels. So then it was like, oh, so you couldn't get Ed, and Eddie if you didn't have this channel.
Right.
Yes,
You
yes,
couldn't
Right.
get
yes.
Right.
SpongeBob if you didn't
That's
have
how
this.
they do stuff, though. That's
That's
how
how
they
they
do
get
stuff.
you. That's how
And
they
that's
get
how they
you.
get you, because
That's
I
how they
remember,
get
like
you.
I said, there were times that I was like, I don't need this. I'm not even home to watch TV this much. And then Iz would be like, but I can't see the Witches of Waverly Place or
Right.
something. I'm
Disney
like,
Yeah,
oh,
Disney
that was the same
XD.
way they say me
That's
on the
like
show too.
264, 260 something.
yeah,
Yeah. Because
exactly.
they moved all the, when everything Cartoon Network
Yeah,
used to be 62,
yes,
63 was Nickelodeon, 64, Comedy Central
yes,
was 68, BT was
yes,
72. And then they were like, all right, you can have these, but now all these other channels exist. And we're gonna start cutting
exactly,
these channels out.
exactly. And
And
I was
you
like,
can't bundle this with this. You got to have this to have this. You
yes,
can't just take that out. That was
right,
like a year later after they started making cable more and more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
yes,
Right.
and
But I
yet,
like a DVR too. I like to
Right.
record because I don't really watch anything. I record everything.
Right.
So that's the thing too. Like with the streaming services, you can't record anything and have them on a DVR. So that's a whole nother issue.
That's probably gonna become, to your point, that's probably gonna become more popular soon, because people are always like, a lot of live events, like a Facebook live video, you can just, after it's ended, it's on
Yeah, watch it on
Facebook.
YouTube.
Right. You can watch it, but if they don't have that, then if you miss the event, you miss the event. Sorry, fam.
Exactly.
Ain't nothing
Exactly.
else for you
so
there. If you don't record Zoom, there ain't nothing else to give you after the Zoom meeting. Then you out of there.
Hmm.
right.
Yep, it's true.
So, Rhonda, to your point, so when you said that with the Versa, so that
Mhm.
means now you can
Versus.
go back and versus, I'm sorry, versus, you can go back and watch now all these
Oh
verses.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, on YouTube, or
Yeah.
I think because they're on some,
Okay,
because they've also started putting them on TikTok. I think that was the point, to bring more people to TikTok. So I
got you.
haven't seen any of them on TikTok, but yeah, you can check them out on YouTube. You can check them out
Yeah,
on
that's how I see them. I never see them live. I see them all on YouTube.
right.
Okay,
And then you
awesome.
also have, people, because the internet, you have people with their camera phones, or like, if somehow
Hmm.
the main company didn't record it for whatever, you probably have like 10 people, or like, it might not be the best angle, but you wanted to see the event, right? So you can't be complaining to me about me being here
Well,
and you not.
It's
well,
like the legal videos back in the day. Somebody
I was
sitting
gonna
back in
say,
front of the media,
yeah, I was
back
The
in
gonna
the
grain,
theater recording.
grain footage.
back in the day when people would take the camera, take the video cam to the movies, the
Yes.
new movies, and it's like
Uh-huh.
the work, but you buying this DVD from Bobo on the
Still gonna
street
watch
for
it.
five
Still gonna
For
dollars,
watch it.
$5. For
Right.
$5.
and
You
you
got a stack
watching
of bootlegs under the
right
bed.
bootleg, you listening to all the noise in the theater, but
But
you
you
know,
see people's heads sometimes.
but it made you feel like, oh man, I was here, because you watching, you be like, man, sit down, I can't see, sit there.
But you
You're
still
not
get the
even
experience.
here.
And that was the point.
And so it
That
is
was the point. And back, mind you, that was just like less than 10 years ago. Let's be
Right.
clear.
That's how
They stopped.
fast we're moving too. That was
yes,
Exactly.
streaming
That's
is
what I'm
only
saying.
maybe 12 years. Like, it's less than 20 years old, really. Like, it's
wow.
not that, it hasn't been here that long. You know what I mean? This is really new still. This whole Zoom thing is still really,
Oh, absolutely.
like, this is
Absolutely.
Yeah.
still really new. Like, this is crazy. You had
So
Skype and
Randall,
all that.
so
Yeah.
Randall, do you think that, because I mean, like, in a lot of times, like in real estate, we are always encouraged to just do videos. I mean, sometimes just jump on and just do a video. And the more authentic people feel, the more it gets attention.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that because we've been told, like, like when you get a referral or you're trying to reach out to a cold call,
Yeah.
video chat them. I'm like, I'm not gonna video chat someone I've never met. I was like, I think that's creepy, to
Mm-hmm.
just like call somebody and just be like, hey, I'm so and so and so. Like, because
You get off my phone.
if someone did that to me, I'm gonna be like, oh, absolutely not. I'm blocking you, right? I'm never answering your call again. I'll be like, no, absolutely not. You can only video chat me or duo me or whatever once you and I have established a relationship.
I
But
know that's right.
do you find that, like, are people doing that? Like, is that something that is acceptable, or is it once you've established rapport with someone? What do you think about that?
I'll say, and I'll answer that in like two parts. Like I'll say, it depends on the person. You know what I mean? Like every person is different. Like there are groups of people now who are like, yeah, just video call me, video chat me. Like there are even people now, and I had to get used to that because like growing up in the 90s, there was still a period of time where like phones and like computers were not a thing in my, you
Right.
know what I mean? Like I'm
Right.
still used to like go outside, you know what I mean? Like play outside, don't come back in until,
Right.
that's fun. That's like, that was still is fun to go outside. Still, like I still have that connection of I can put down my phone and like walk away from it. Like there are times where like I'll turn my phone off and leave it somewhere so I'm not on it. You know what I mean? I'm not
Mhm.
constantly
Me
just
too.
because it's
Right.
like they literally have, there's a guy and he said he apologized for it, but they created the endless scroll where like if you go down Facebook, you go down Instagram, you go down YouTube, it's not gonna end. It's never gonna, you could stay
Correct.
on the homepage forever and still see
Yes.
forever 10 million things.
Yes.
So there are people now who will, their preferred method of calling you is voice call. Like I'll text people
Sure.
sometimes and be like, I'll be here, and they'll voice call me back to have the conversation because it's like this is easier for me rather than, you know what I mean, texting. Like the same way somebody might call you on the phone, but they want to see your face while they're talking to you. Like I
Right.
had to get used to that because I was like, you can just text me. I don't need to see you to
Right.
do what we do. You feel me? But it is
Mhm.
hard to gauge people, and like I feel like because y'all have grown up in the era of just building relationships, which is still important, which some people don't understand now. You can move
Absolutely.
into a space where it's like if someone wants to video call you, they'll naturally just say, hey, would you mind video calling, or do you want to get
Mhm.
on Duo, or can we voice chat using the Android or the app or whatever kind of phone you have? And there are also people who are still like, no, just text me please, or like just email me, or like don't,
Mhm.
I don't like to be on the phone like this. Just call me. You know what I'm saying? Or like if you do video call them, then they just have their avatar up the
Mhm.
whole time. They got a picture. It's
Yes.
never, you never see them.
Right.
And then you end the conversation, you move on
Exactly.
about it. I would say also videos, especially in a realtor space or like any space where you are constantly selling, yes, but those allow you to build a back catalog of passive income. Because on your website, right? And not in the sense of video calls. I mean, like when you show a house, or like when you're talking to someone, or you were creating a, what's the best word for it, when you're creating some kind of branding that you want people to experience, and
Mhm.
necessarily you don't want to always have to be like, this is I do real estate, you know what I mean? You're just like, you can go watch my video. That
Yes.
allows you to create a catalog on your website or YouTube or Daily Motion or any of these other platforms. And like I like to, entrepreneurship, you can have your own music created and just let the producer know, yo, I'm doing this to work for hire, I can pay you royalties, but you're not going to be collecting, like, you won't have rights to this, you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
you will still be able to collect money from this thing. You can put that content up, and then they can go to your YouTube or like your website, and they can watch these videos of these houses or of your branding. And this is paying you as you're going on about your day, still the same way that we're doing this now. And after you upload this podcast, this will continue to pay after it's up.
Right.
You can do
Right.
that with all the houses you go to. Or if you have an idea for something, you're like, oh, this would be, because authenticity is natural and y'all are authentic people. Like, so it's like it doesn't have to be something that you have to jump into, but you can also, in the same
Mhm.
sense, set up videos where people can go and experience you, like how the same way people are going to experience this podcast. They're not in here with us right now
Right.
talking with us, but
Right.
anytime they watch this podcast, they're getting the experience of it. The same thing with the bootleg movie. You're not in the
Right.
movie right now watching it, but whoever
Right.
took the time and took the risk to film it for you, you still getting the
Right.
jokes, you still getting the laughs out of it, even with
Right.
homie in the front, in front of the
Right,
screen. You feel me? Like
right,
Bobo still helps you out. Like
right.
it's so that
Yes.
that gives you the ability to build something for yourself that doesn't always require your feet to be on the ground. It doesn't always require
Right.
you to be on the phone or to be on a video call, because someone can go, oh, well, actually, you have a video explaining everything I was going to ask you anyway. And if I have
Mm-hmm.
any extra questions and you're okay with it, then I will video call you, or I'll just text you, or I'll just email you, or I'll just call you on the phone. Like, but yeah, it's not unbeneficial, or it's not what's the word? It's not going to hurt you at all to do so,
You can only
but
help.
right, it can only help, but there are definitely benefits to allowing yourself to set up videos like how we're doing right now, to record things pre-recorded and then put them up and then just direct people through them
Use
through
them.
your Instagram or through word of mouth, or even on your card. You can say on the back of it any information you may want to ask, I have here on YouTube or Daily Motion or on my website. But if you have any other questions, of course, just contact me here at this number or this email or however else. And you can even give it to them where it's like, if you'd like the video call, then specify that here, or however you set up those systems. And then in place, those relationships are built where you have your people who like to call, you have your people who like to text, who like to email, who like the video call. And then these are
Mm-hmm.
just four of the ways that we interact now. That's not even talking about, the whole VR and AR thing. People might start doing, well, can I hologram to your spot? Can I talk to you as a hologram? Like, you know what I mean? So this is just what we're
Oh my
doing right
goodness.
now. This ain't even where it's going. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Right.
it depends on the people. It depends on the community. It also depends on the mindset, because you can still, there are people out here who are like 50 and they're like, I still want to video call you. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's not about the person or their age. It's just where their mindset is at and
Right.
how they do business and how they
Right.
interact with people, how
Right.
they don't interact with people rather too.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what else do you want to tell us? What else you gonna educate us on?
Oh shoot. I mean, I'm learning from y'all same time. You know what I'm saying? One thing I would say too, like you were saying earlier, streaming and business online and the internet is always, even right now, like Google, I was watching a documentary on Google, right? And I might be getting it wrong, but they update their system about 5 to 6 times a day. Like
Wow.
fully recode it and update the entirety of the search engine, the YouTube, because people are always hacking into it or messing with it or sending stuff here and there.
Right.
So on the daily, there are a team of people who their only job is to update Google. Their only job is to keep this thing that is already a multi-billion-dollar company that is already culturally relevant, that everyone already knows about, but they're still in there like, well, we got to change this and we got to do this and we still got to make updates to Instagram. There's a
Uh-huh.
whole team for Instagram, because Google and Instagram obviously aren't the same company if they ever end up in that same boat. But right
Right.
now, there's the same thing for Instagram, the same thing for the Facebook conglomerate, the same thing for the Twitter conglomerate, the same thing for whoever's at that level online, because it's the idea of not stagnation, not stagnating, not allowing yourself to rest on laurels just because, yeah, we're
Right.
Google. Who's gonna, oh, if you hack us once, nobody's gonna care if you, yeah, they will. If they can't
Yes,
get
they
right
Oh,
will.
information from
absolutely.
you, yeah, they're gonna go to Yahoo
Yes.
or they're gonna go to Bing. And then you have the whole thing of, well, dang, we should have updated, huh? I guess. But it's there is no, once again, there's no right or wrong way to learn online business on the internet. The
Mm-hmm.
best thing to do is to just to keep learning and to keep
Yes.
relearning and to keep unlearning, because someone today might create some new platform and it won't blow Instagram or TikTok out of the water, but now you have half of your users that are also, to Aunt Stephanie's point, sharing their space between, I'm a member on Instagram and I'm a member on whatever this new platform is, and I
Right.
jump between. But now you're not on Instagram 24/7 like you were before. So that
Right.
still changes what their overall numbers look like. And that still changes what the overall interaction on the internet is now like, because you have like a Clubhouse, that whole thing when Clubhouse got popular on Apple, if y'all heard about that before. I've never
Hmm.
been on that. But when that became a thing, people around me were hopping on Clubhouse and like, yeah, if you want to come to my meeting, just hop on Clubhouse. I was like, well, I don't have that, so I won't see you there. But there are whole people who are moving their
Yes.
business, their faces, their visibility, their recognition, their name, their brand onto another platform to
Right.
catch more sun, catch more shine, right? So
Right. Right.
there is no I don't understand, or I don't know, or I'm too young, or I'm too old to do this. It's just, will you take the time, and not the time where you're stressing yourself and you're beating yourself over it. Will you take time that is good for you to learn what you need to learn to be proactive in the space? And if you
Right.
do that, because once again, we already have an entrepreneur mindset, but when you have these internet businesses and you're really putting time into them, a lot of it is passive income if you're looking to be monetized on them. So
Yes.
you put up a few videos, you put up a few songs, you put up a few poems. Maybe they don't have any streams in the moment, But once it catches and people are every day now going back to it, the same way you listen to
Like
Prince
fire.
or you listen to Lauryn Hill or you listen to Jill Scott Heron, Jill
Yes.
Scott, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
when you start going back and the person is solidified, then you're not worrying about, oh well, I might get some views today or I might get some streams today. That's already a done deal. Now it's,
Right.
well, I'm not going to rest on my laurels. What else can I do as an entrepreneur to then flip this thing that it's already got me popular? How can I make more money out of this? Or how can I make more recognition? Or how can I get more connections? So it's really staying open to the idea of that just because you have one thing or it seems like it's not gaining as much traction, you have just as much potential out here as the people who are Google, the people who are Twitter, the
Right.
people who are, because
Mhm.
there's no barriers anymore. There's no borders to entry. There's no gatekeeper saying, well, I
Right.
don't like your idea, so I'm sorry, it ain't gonna fly
Right.
here. I don't care
Right.
how good it is.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, bet I'm gonna go
exactly.
start my own website, or even if I don't have the money to start a website, I'm gonna go get on one of these platforms, and then I will
Mhm.
start
Doing my
from
thing.
there.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
what you gonna do to me then? Like, you know
Correct.
what I mean? So, to that
This
point,
is true though.
right to that point. So monetization on the homegrown gets changed within the week, so we lose that again. So this is two separate platforms, three separate times in my life where I've made money on this one huge platform, Google, basically, because YouTube is only the video search engine version of Google. Instead of
Exactly.
scrolling videos on the Google tab, you just go to YouTube and you just watch them directly. That's all YouTube really is. And then
Right.
they built
Mhm.
an entire other community around it, entrepreneurship. They were like, well,
Mhm.
why don't we just build it up again? Like, I don't think they have a picture version, but if they made a picture too, people would go there and do the same thing. I bet you, because
Yeah.
there were
Mhm.
like
Yes.
Instagram. That's what Instagram was originally for. But there are whole platforms out here where the whole point is to just put pictures up, and you can sell stock
Mhm.
photography, or you can just put it up because you want people to see it, or you can promote your portfolio as a photographer or cinema or whatever. But people's ideas are also like, if you have an idea too, someone possibly is also having a similar idea, or they've given you a platform to
Yes.
express your idea. So even if you're looking around, you're like, well, no one in my space really seems to be doing it. Well, someone around the world might be. And if you're looking
Mhm.
at your
It's true.
space as the earth rather than
Right.
your plot of land where you live at, then that opens you up to so
Absolutely.
much more. So
Yes.
Mhm.
That
to
the
that
your
point,
real estate is the world. I love that, Ron.
yes,
About that. Your plot of land is not just where you are. It is the entire world, because as long as you, if you put yourself out there, you don't know who
Mhm.
you're going to run into. Who you I
yes,
mean, it is like I used to say, the four people, sometimes people have the four corner mentality, meaning you only know the four corners of your neighborhood.
Mhm.
Like that's
Yep.
it. Right?
burrow,
You're like
burrow.
you don't know
Oh,
nothing, and that's just not people that's people across the board. I mean, born and raised in New York, and I've known people who never ever left Brooklyn. You're like,
Yeah.
what do you mean you never left Brooklyn? Like
I know.
New York is a metropolis. You can go wherever
Exactly.
you
Itself.
endless.
want.
It's a
You
universe
can
and a universe and a universe forever.
right.
And that's just,
You can get on a
that's not
Exactly.
even counting the
get on
streets.
a
That's just counting
train.
the
You can get on
The
a
boroughs.
you
right.
can walk across the bridge and be in another. I mean, there is no reason why a person would live in some place like New York. That's like saying you live in LA, but you never left your block. Are you kidding me? Like what?
I know. I can't. I can't. It's like when we living in Central Jersey. Born in the Bronx, raised in New Jersey. My
Right,
mother always kept her business in the Bronx,
right,
and I just like moving to New Jersey. Even living like 15 minutes out of the Bronx, but in New Jersey, and you would see people that like, oh, I haven't been to New York in like 10 years. I'm like, it's 15 minutes away. It's
right.
20 minutes
What's the
away.
reason?
And that's unfathomable to me. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
And then as I moved further into New Jersey, now living in Central Jersey, I would meet these people like, I haven't been to New York in like 20 years. I'm like, you haven't
Why?
been to New York? It's like 50 minutes away,
Right.
45 minutes away. And they just like, it's so foreign to them. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, wow.
But I think but that is that's why I like to say it's important to and to important to realize that every day is a learning opportunity. And
Yes.
when we find
Yes.
ourselves, we become stagnant, or where we become so comfortable. My pastor always says, comfort us where we're comfortable and disturb us where we are too comfortable. Make
Mm,
us
Exactly.
uncomfortable, we're too comfortable. And I
Mhm.
love that, because it reminds you that every day that you get up is a new day.
a blessing
uh,
truly.
Truly.
it's man, it's a new day. It's an opportunity. There are doors open. There are windows open. And guess what? If there's a wall there, believe me, if you pray about it, if you seek it, if you knock on it, God will make that thing. He'll take that wall and make it a door.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly. Truly.
Yep.
He will
Facts.
put
Agreed.
windows. He'll put windows in a space that was dark, right? And I'm not preaching to you about God. I'm preaching to you about faith, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Because
Mhm.
without faith, your works really are dead. Because if you don't
That's so
believe that
true.
you can do it, it's just a dream.
Yes.
It's
Hmm.
just a
Hmm.
dream. But if you
Well,
take
if you don't believe you could do it, you already failed.
right,
Right.
and
Right.
if you don't take the
Exactly.
dream and then put the dream into a plan, or take the vision and make the plan mobile, right? If you don't make it live, you got to breathe life into the thing. As you said, Rondell, if it's keeping you up every night, or every time you go somewhere,
Right.
it's like
Right.
remember the show in Living Color, message,
Message.
it's just
Message.
jumping out at you. Man,
Yes.
do it. Do not. I tell people all the time, do not live your life in the woulda, coulda, shoulda. All them people are dead. All the woulda, coulda,
Yep.
shoulda people, they dead. All those dreams, all those
Hmm.
woulda, coulda, shoulda, you know where they live? In the graveyard of I wish I had, I should have had, I could have
That's
had,
right.
if I had. If you keep living that way, if you keep speaking that thing into the universe, that is where you live. And
Yes.
so, with so much opportunity, and like I said, every day is a blessing. And I don't care.
And it is.
Yes.
Yesterday could have been messed up. It could
Hmm.
have been. Today can be messed up.
Hmm.
But
But we
just
walk. We
think
woke
about,
up.
Right.
You
right,
woke up. You could walk. You could talk. You could move. It's a
right,
Interact with
day
people.
to make yesterday a better day.
right,
Right.
Because you have to like create each day. I mean, there's a month of Fridays in a month, but this
Yeah.
this Friday, this is July 2nd, 2021. This is the only one of those Fridays.
that's right.
This
The
Yes.
only
Friday,
one you're
because
gonna
like
ever
I said,
get.
last way, last night died. Well, what did I say? Yesterday died last night.
Right.
So
Mm.
yesterday is dead. You know what I mean? Today's almost dead too.
Yep.
So what are you gonna do today? You
Yep.
know, and because there isn't always tomorrow.
No.
Mm.
I'm
Because
always
think
fascinated.
about how many people woke up to planned on waking up today and didn't,
Right.
Mm.
and
And
it's
I'm always
it's quite a
fascinated.
few.
I'm always fascinated. This is why I
Mm.
love to travel. You know why I love to travel? Especially when you now, if you travel by airplane. Now, I love to drive. I love to drive places because I feel you get to see so much, right? And you
Yeah,
have
definitely.
it's like
Yeah.
when I'm on a train, I'm passing by something. I can't jump off the train. I
Nah.
can't
You be
jump
like,
off the bus.
you be
You
like,
gotta hit,
you
But
yeah,
go,
you gotta hit that turn. So I hope you see it.
if I
Did you
see
see
it
that?
in
No,
my
I didn't.
car, I could be like, "Oop, I'm pulling off. I'm pulling off." Right?
exactly.
I The reason what I love about travel is that you can get on a plane right this morning at 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock this morning. In 2 hours, in an hour,
Mhm,
you can be miles away from where you woke up, and you
mhm.
could go to sleep someplace else. You can eat,
Right.
sleep, and shop and do whatever, explore in a whole
Right.
nother place. And that could
That's
be
amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
could be one day. But then
Yeah.
Exactly.
imagine if you go on a trip, and from, let's just say, 7 days, you planned a trip for a week. And each of those days you woke up in a new location.
Mm.
That is how
Yeah.
you got to live life. That
Yeah.
every day I got to be in a
Mhm,
new location. And
Yeah.
I don't mean
mhm,
that physically. You got to think it, you got to believe it, you got to breathe it, and then you got to
mhm.
exude it in life.
Yes.
And so that's why when people are like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do a lot of stuff. I didn't know how to make a YouTube channel, but I'd be damn if I didn't call my son and was like, son,
That's
I
Right.
need a YouTube channel. How
Right.
do I do it?
yes,
Right.
you did.
Right. And that's the thing though. Somebody has the answers that you're looking for.
That's
It
true
doesn't
now.
have to always be you. Henry Ford had I think Henry Ford graduated maybe third, fourth grade, if even
Yep.
that far. But
Exactly.
there
It's
was
true.
a there was a court case where this guy is like, he wanted to prove that Henry Ford was basically an idiot. So he's asking him all these questions. What's the capital of this and what's the capital of that? Henry Ford stops the dude in the middle of it. He's like, why are you asking me all these pointless questions? I could literally pay anyone at the push of a button. I could call a person to answer every question that you are asking me.
Mm.
It's like the idea of I don't need to know everything. I can find someone who does. And I believe
Exactly.
that this thing will happen. When he first was making the engine block, when he wanted to change up the Model T, like, sir, this car is impossible. He's like, well, figure it out.
Right.
It has to be possible. Something. Right.
I know
Make it happen, Captain. Right. Yes.
Make it happen.
Yes. And then years later, Ford, whether you feel good or bad about Ford, it's still here. It ain't gone
It's
nowhere.
not going nowhere. I bought stock. I got some Ford stock. It's not going
All right.
nowhere.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, but they're just like Charles Lindbergh, you know, with the airplane. You know, it's fascinating. You know, he might not know a lot of other things, but he knew that.
Yes.
Because when God created us, because each and every one of us are God's masterpieces,
Exactly.
He created us, each and every one of us, with a gift.
Mm.
Right.
Multiple.
To create and to build something. We're put on this earth for a reason.
Yes. With multiple.
You know,
we don't get
multiple gifts. You're absolutely true. You
It's that
know,
story
and
of
then
talents.
we dig deep inside of us, like you said, Ronald, like your mom just said. You know, if something's keeping you up at night, that's God, but that's your gift that God gave you that's keeping you up at night.
Facts.
Right.
Facts.
Right.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
look, I always say that's the one thing about being human, right? It is the gift of being human is that if you touch something, because someone could keep telling you, don't touch that. That's dangerous. But once you touch that mug and it either burn you, shock you, snatch a limb off, oh, you now believe, right? You are clear about what this thing can do, right?
Exactly. No ifs, ands, or buts, right?
Right.
So I could have told you over and over and over and over again, don't touch that. Funny story. When RJ was a baby,
I know this
we had a plasma TV in our sunroom. This child would go behind that plasma TV every
Lord.
I'm still interested in electronics to this day.
Put his hands, and I'd say, don't touch that. And he looked me dead in the face. Like, you mean this thing, you don't want me to touch it? No, don't touch it. Now, luckily, the plasma TV had nothing that could harm him. But the point was, come from behind there, right? You don't need to be back there. Rondo always said, how come I never got a chemistry set?
Yeah.
I said, because we were very afraid that you would blow up the whole house with us in it.
I'm doing chemistry now, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
because
I understand.
Likes to mix stuff and put stuff together and figure out and be like, oh, look at that. It got fire. Oh, no. Your laboratory could not be where we lived. And so
Texas laboratory.
So, but my
I know that. I remember the cartoon.
Yeah. Dee. Yeah, I still watch that too.
But the point is that when you have those, you have to have an inquiring mind. And so just because you get older, I don't care how old you are, I don't care how young you are. There are children out here starting businesses at 4 and 5.
Yes.
Like, and
successful.
And people say, you don't know enough. I know enough to start a business, and I know that you haven't. So what does that
That's
say?
right. I must know something.
Right. Something must be working out in my favor. Yes or yes.
That's for sure, honey.
Because we are good for that. We'll tell people, well, how you know? You obviously I know because I'm on Ford's top 100 businesses, right? I have a whole empire, and I'm not even legal in any way, shape, or form.
Nope.
Yeah, that's so true.
Look at these young kids, these young girls who have started, young boys who have started foundations and they're feeding the homeless, and man, come on.
Or lemonade stands. There are kids out here running multi-million-dollar lemonade stands.
Right.
Lemonade stands.
Come with it. Come with it. And
it's beautiful.
Yes, it is. It is.
With my 5-cent lemonade and a few people in the neighborhood, but that was one of those things that, oh, that's cute. You know what? All of your dreams and your visions, some will come to fruition. some may not.
That's
Or
right.
they may come to fruition through another means and not
Mhm.
through you.
Mhm.
But the
Yes.
bottom line is that don't knock your stuff. Don't
Right.
Mm.
just, don't take it down and say this is not working. It does work. You just got to keep
Mhm.
at it, right?
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
you
Yeah.
now
No,
you
you
have
guys keep, you gotta keep tweaking it. It's like
Yes.
don't give up. And then
right,
sometimes it's the thing. It's like that voice, like Ronald said, keeps you up at night because it's like you want to do something, and you're like, well, maybe that'll work, but that's not your gift. Once you find your gift,
Mm.
yes,
it's gonna
there's
work.
no stopping.
Always.
Exactly.
Without fail.
That's the key because some people always want to hop on somebody else's bandwagon. Oh, they did that. I'm smart. I can do that too. Well, it's not about that. It's not about. It's about when it's your gift.
Yeah,
You may not know all the ins and outs, but God gives you all the tools you need to make
right,
it succeed.
right.
Facts.
And
And
Rhonda,
so and so that's the difference.
you said
Mm.
that, Rondo, earlier when you first started speaking about the fact, like, don't worry about being like somebody else. Don't worry about
Yeah.
trying to create what someone else has done. Find your stuff.
Yes.
Operate in
Mhm.
your gift. Walk in your lane. That's really what people mean. Stay in your lane.
Exactly.
In
That's
your
right,
It
Right.
doesn't mean
honey.
you can't
Yes.
make it. And if there's not a lane for you, then make your
Create one.
You'll create one. Yes. You'll create one. It's
make
that
your
That's
easy.
right.
lane.
Create one.
It's that easy. Yes.
That's like me, my fashion being my background. You have these, covers, the Vogue covers, Harper's Bazaar, whatever. Oh, I like that. Everything is not for everybody.
Nope.
Yes.
I tell everybody, dress for your body type.
Mm.
Just because
Exactly.
you saw it on Cover magazine and in the window of the department store don't mean it's for you. Once you figure all that out, you will always look phenomenal
Mm.
because you're dressing for yourself,
Right.
for your
Right.
body type, for
From the
your
inside
shape.
out.
And that's important. And it's the same thing with everything. You know what I mean? When it's for you and
Yes.
that's what God gave you and it's unique to you,
That's right.
that's it. That makes all the difference in the world.
That
Soon
is
as you're trying to do something like someone else, that's when all your problems start.
right.
With
Yeah.
everything, with every aspect of your life. I mean, because even if you say like we share recipes,
Mm.
it's not always gonna taste exactly the same
Right.
as a person that created it. It's gonna taste a little different because you made it.
Yes.
Yes.
That's just the way it is. Even if you go to a restaurant and you get the recipe, it's not gonna taste like it tastes in the restaurant. Not saying that it would taste bad. It's just
Yes.
gonna taste different.
Yes.
And it's like even if the two people do wear the same outfit, because there's only like what about 5 or 6 different body types anyway. So
Mm.
you have to, but it's gonna look different on each individual because it's their body and it's their energy and their spirit that they bring to it.
Right.
But as long as you bring in all that in yourself, then that's all that matters.
Right.
Like people started all talking with the vocal fry. I'm like, how does everybody's voice sound exactly the same way? How
Mm.
crazy was that? It's like, oh Lord, this sounds crazy. you know,
Trying to
like
tell
one of
you.
my big pet peeves now is that the uniqueness of hairstyles. It's like still like tripping me out. That now even though there weren't a lot of people of color on TV when we grew up, all the women that were of color on TV, they all had their own hairstyles, different, they look different. Now, everybody on TV that have the same hairstyle, the same long wig with the curls or the weaves or whatever it is they have or their hair. And it's like, what happened to the uniqueness of just enjoying your hair, having your own style? That really trips me out, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
It's not kind of sad, it is sad. And you look at the girls in high school, how do you, by the time you get our age, you won't have no edges with all the weaves and all the wigs and all of this, never learning to enjoy what's naturally you.
Yeah.
Not saying that you can't do that, but still enjoy what's naturally you.
Right.
And I mean, I always like, I've never had any issue like with the braids like that because they were just something that we did as a culture always. We did the cornrows and we did the braids and stuff like that. But these weaves and these wigs and this, it's gotten to be pretty crazy,
Mm.
Well,
especially at such a young age.
stay in your lane.
Exactly. Learn to do
Stay in your
learn to work with what God gave you.
Yeah.
Let's try that first. you
Mm,
So
know, because you see the difference.
yeah.
Rondo, what are your final words and your closing words? What do you want to leave us with?
Oh, I mean, closing words would be so like talking about setbacks and failures and like the idea of persistence, right? So
Yes.
there's tons of sites out here where you can submit poems or music to people and then they can put them on playlists, maybe on Spotify or Apple or wherever, right? So I started doing streaming for myself in 2019 and started buying, copyrights, started like actually forming the masters, what they talk about. And it's
Hmm.
different for every production depending on if it's music or a poem with backing or whatever. The whole tie into that is that for I find this company called Submit Hub, right? I start submitting music on there. Actually, a friend told me about it too. Somebody I would randomly just talk to on Facebook every once in a while. So it came from another person, but I've been looking for an avenue to further produce more traction, more recognition for the things I was releasing, to not just pay myself, but pay the people who are a part of it. So 2019 is going, is going, is going. We get some traction, we get some traction. It didn't take until November of 2020, and I'm submitting poems on this music site now. I've started recording poems even in 2019. No, I know how many people in the poetry community, how many people in the physical community, but they all have their own lives even before
Yes.
COVID. So just because you put something else too, this is why you don't rely on other people. You love other people and you let them live their lives because they
Right.
may not have time to
Right.
go, and
Mhm.
they still got to live their whole life.
Yes.
But in
Mhm.
November of 2020, this one person sees this poem and they hear another poem that I didn't even send this one to them. They're like, I'm gonna put these both up here. One of these poems ends up staying on this playlist and ends up putting me in over 80 countries. Ends up generating
Wow.
income now where I'm streamed every day. Like, cause that's the point of a mainstream artist. It's not necessarily who does or doesn't like your music. It's do you get streamed every day, or your poems, do you get streamed every day, and are you making consistent connections with people and then building on that? Are you
Yes.
flipping what you have and not just resting on your laurels? So it took
Yes.
me a year from when I'd even started, but I've been doing this now for 7 years. So it took me that it doesn't take everyone that long though, but it's just what it took me to learn, as you were saying on Stephanie, learn with what I work with, to be happy with what I got, to build my skills, to be like, well, no, I have things here that are already working for me. I have feedback. I have people who have heard my poems, who've heard my music. But now I don't worry about, am I going to stream today? I think, well, what's the next thing I'm going to put out? How am I going to further myself?
Yes.
So the mindset that I want people to have, the words that I would leave you with is your maximum potential is not something that you will ever reach, because God has given you infinite potential, infinite gifts, infinite learning. If you take the time to learn about your gifts, as Aunt Stephanie was saying, and then build into them, there's never going to be for somebody who really believes in abundance, there is no shortage. There is no, oh, I'm going to run out of ideas, or I'm going to run
No.
out of people to talk to. I'm going to run out of people to come to my business. That's a human thing. If you really believe in abundance and you believe in the person that you serve, you believe in the thing that you pray to, then you will always be in the right. You will always be in the no. You will always be moving along. So your idea should not be of, will I get better, but how will I allow myself to see where I can get better, and how will I allow myself to receive it? And in that way, you don't have to worry about resting on laurels, or will people stop being interested in what I'm doing? There are people who, what you want to talk about Beethoven, I still want to talk about Prince and Michael Jackson, but you have people who've been making music for years, since they were children.
Mhm.
People are
Yes.
still
Mhm.
playing them right now,
Yes.
somewhere, not even somewhere, tens of thousands of places around the
Absolutely.
world right now. Those people are not
Absolutely.
missing anything. They are
Yes.
no longer even here.
Nope.
So
Mhm.
it is
And
not
they are
about,
still loved.
It's
exactly,
very much so.
exactly,
Very much so.
Still
because that's
Mhm.
the
relevant.
thing. When
Still
you put
relevant.
Very much so.
energy into
Mhm.
something, you breathe life into it. As you were saying, Mom, it breathes life back into you. And not
Yes.
just back into you, but the people around you, the people in your
Absolutely.
family, the people who interact with it. So it's not about how will I get to this point? It's understanding that that point is already there. The mansion is already there. That's what we were told, correct? The wealth is
Absolutely.
Mhm.
already there.
Yes.
It's not just
That's
always
right.
about
Exactly.
money,
That's
but
what
the
we were
money is
told.
there too. It's how will I allow
Mhm.
myself to see that and not get caught up in the people or the conditions or who the president is or what the economy is
Mhm.
like. You
Mhm.
believe in abundance, none of that should matter to you outside of where you need to learn about it to function in it.
I love that. I
That
love
those would be
that.
my closing
You
words.
gotta
I do too.
preach.
Very well said. Because that is the truth. You speak the truth. Okay. That is so
Right,
true, honey.
right,
That was so on point, Rondo. That was
right.
definitely, that is like, man, I'm gonna have to listen to
Mhm.
that part again just so I can get that in
Yeah.
true in my
Yes.
that was
Hey,
that was awesome.
that too. Ooh, I would say that. I've been listening to my last thing, how you were saying earlier about listening to sermons or positive affirmations or audiobooks or however you need to get it for you. I like to listen to Reverend Ike, and I like to listen to different information from a lot of different people.
Mhm.
Getting yourself into the mindset of prosperity and abundance is a good thing to do even when you're already there, because a lot of us have been conditioned by other people in our lives, or that the world is this way, that this is this way, that
Yes,
this is, and even those people have still been conditioned by people in front of them. So it's not
correct.
about pointing the finger, because you still got four at least pointing back, three at least pointing back at you. It's going, okay, people have learned stuff. I can unlearn, I can relearn, and I can move forward. But that still depends on me
Absolutely.
wanting to do that, not on what people have told me or what I should believe.
Correct.
So, yeah, it is easy for anyone out here, especially on an online business, to reach ever reaching heights of maximum potential, but you have to still be willing to start the journey. You have to still be willing to even believe that you can start the journey. And that
Yes.
would be where I
That's
would
right.
end at. Yeah,
Yes.
it's on you,
I love that.
but you're not in it alone.
Thank
Because
you.
age is just a number.
It
When
is.
people like want to just think like I'm too old to do this, or I'm too young to do this, or now like my life is over, I'm like in my 50s, and I'm like, yeah, another part of your life has just begun,
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
long as God is breathing life into you, and you can get up every morning, there is a day to create and do whatever you desire to do.
You have a reason.
Whatever heart God has put in your heart and your purpose, you should always be prepared to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel for people, and there are a lot of people that live in the space of, oh, my life is over, I'm ready to, I don't want to do anything. It's just, and I cannot, because I try to keep a positive state of mind. I cannot listen to a lot of that for a long period of time. But
Yeah.
it's sad when you hear people that's in that space.
It's not about always keeping, because the positive state of mind still interacts with like what you thought before and like the things you grew up with or whatever else. It's not about beating yourself up and being like, well, if I'm not positive all
Hmm.
the time, I'm not human.
Right.
Because
Hmm.
you're still relearning, you're still unlearning, you never stop learning. And to
Not
the
at
point of
all.
that,
Or you shouldn't anyway. That's what keeps you relevant. That's what keeps you youthful.
exactly.
Is that hunger for learning. Like I want to learn. I want to know more. That's important.
Do y'all know what neuroplasticity is by any chance?
I
Can I say that again?
Neuroplasticity.
I think
Neuroplasticity.
Oh, yes.
So
Hmm.
I think I have
yeah,
an idea, but please tell us.
it so back in the day, and I grew up in this era too, they used to tell you that when you reach a certain age, your brain functions fail, your body fails, all
Hmm.
things start going
Hmm.
wrong for you, because that's the natural progression of life.
Yes.
Although nowhere in the Bible does it necessarily say that there should be any physical deterioration of any of you, but that's what we've been conditioned to believe.
Hmm.
So they find out, like,
Hmm.
it's probably about maybe 15 something years old now. They find out that every time you learn one new thing, every time you interact with something for at least even 15 minutes, but really it could be interacting with it at all to 30 minutes, you build 1,000 new connections in your brain. Those 1,000 new
Hmm.
connections will keep the person, how you're talking about body types, you don't have to be or look like everybody else, but the learning and the act of learning keeps any person in their optimal state of health for what it's supposed to be for them. So even the act of, oh,
Hmm.
I'm gonna read a book that I ain't read today, or I'm gonna read a note that I ain't read today, or I'm gonna look at something I ain't ever done before, it still puts
Right.
you in the state of constantly receiving health, constantly receiving wealth, because wealth is health. It
Yes.
don't matter if you got 10 billion if you can't spend it. You know what I mean?
Hello.
Like,
That's so
Right.
true.
it don't do
You
nothing
get up
for
and
That's
you.
walk.
right.
If you can't talk, can't see, can't hear.
No,
Absolutely.
no, and
Well,
Colonel,
that's that thing that elongates the telemeters in our DNA. That's what that
yes,
does.
yes,
And
yes,
that
and it
gives
lengthens
us that
them.
renews them. Like they become
Yes,
short. Yes.
right.
Yep.
But before
It's
they would
very
have said that
important.
was impossible. They would have said that
Hmm.
after you hit a certain age, you're done. But to that same
Hmm.
point, Colonel Sanders, whether he stole the recipe or not, I don't know, didn't start KFC till he was in his 50s,
Absolutely.
Exactly.
and it's still
Had,
here.
he had a plethora of failed businesses.
Tons, tons.
Hmm.
He could have stopped way earlier, even before he was
Yes.
at 50, and been like, sorry, man,
I'm just
obviously
done.
the world ain't meant
Yeah,
for
right.
me. You know what I mean? But he didn't do that. And there
He
are
did.
so many
It's true.
people, even when they're 60, even when they're 70, are still out here. They're even in the space of well, that's not hip hop, it's grime. It's a form of UK rap that still is built out of the islands, but is coalesced in UK and out of their musical styles. There are two guys over there in their 70s, I believe, who are rapping on a mainstream level. Why? Because they chose to, and they didn't say, well, dang, I'm 70, so nobody going, that's part of their aesthetic. Oh, they 70 and they still fire, we gonna pick up their music. You
Right.
got ZZ Top, ain't they in their 90s or something? They
Yep.
still
Yes.
80s, 90s,
Still,
they
Yep. ZZ Top is still getting busy, boy.
still
Patty
getting
LaBelle's getting ready
paid.
to go on the tour. She's 77. She said she's getting ready to go back on
a
tour.
woman. I saw a woman on the, the Today Show always celebrates people who are over 100, 100 years old. I saw a woman, she was 108. Her name was, it wasn't Bernice, it was like Beneath the something like that. This woman received her PhD at 103 or something like
Yes.
that. She completed her PhD.
Wow, that's
So
beautiful.
this is what I'm
Yes.
saying, right? You don't,
Mhm.
like you just said, Rondell, don't allow people to pour that into you, right? And of course, we
Mhm.
all have opinions. We all
Yeah,
have, it's like a
Oh yeah,
door
absolutely,
that's fine.
absolutely.
It's fine to have
opinions, and we
opinions.
think, but you know what? That's what I mean about, you have to learn how to say, okay, thanks, and keep it moving.
Right.
And you have to learn when who those dream stealers, those dream snatchers, because you cannot share your dreams with each and every
No,
person
you can't.
because
Nope.
they're doing anything but to snatch it from you, you know.
Yeah,
So you know who to share it with, you know who not to share it with, because they
yeah,
definitely are out there, you
yeah.
know.
Right.
That's true.
That's hmm
Right.
Well,
everybody's not ready. Everybody is not ready. You know, they're just
No.
like they like everything that you talked about, who the president is, the state of the economy, they all caught up so
Right.
much in that they can't even see anything else.
yeah,
Yes.
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 Well, I want to say this has been amazing.
Yes.
Of course,
It really
you'll be
has.
you'll be back. We're gonna have you back. We're gonna bring.
Yeah.
Please. This was awesome.
But I want
Looking
to
forward
say
to it.
thank you so much. You have shared so much great information, and you definitely dropped some beautiful nuggets of knowledge. I just want to thank you so much. I love you so much. I always tell you, even if you were not my child, I would still love you because
I
you
I'm
know
glad to
that
be
that
your
man, that's
child,
a
Mom.
beautiful thing.
you are just you are just an amazing, you really are a gift. I just, children are gifts, and when you allow
Absolutely.
them to live and blossom in their gifts, and you as parents appreciate them and love on them and encourage them, you get to see what they become and who they're becoming.
Mhm.
So I want to say thank you so much for being our guest today. We really appreciate you coming on today. Honey
Thank you.
Bunny, thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Lonzo. Oh, you were just wonderful,
Thanks,
honey.
Aunt
You
Stephanie.
know,
It's
So
you
great to
are
see you.
definitely one of my favorite humans.
Mm,
It's great to see you too.
likewise. I
yes.
love you.
So we hope that you all have a wonderful
Yeah,
week,
thank you, honey bunny.
safe weekend. Have a safe weekend. Be careful out there. There are going to be a lot of people on the roads, a lot of people on the
Yes.
highways. Remember that a lot of people have not been out, so just be mindful
Yeah.
of your
Learn how to
surroundings. Because
act.
somebody may act a little crazy and not know what to do with themselves. So just be careful out there. But we wanted to say thank you all for joining us, and we really appreciate you all being with us today. So be blessed. Have a great weekend. Mwah.
Bye.
I